What's going on, Clipper Nation? Welcome to episode 13, 12 of season 2. We're doing a live edition hang. Ivica Zubac, the big news today, signs his contract extension with the Los Angeles Clippers. It's a steal. We're going to talk about it. Adam's here. I'm Chuck Mockler. I don't know if I mentioned that up top. But this is a great day for Clipper Nation. 3 years, $58 million extension for Ivica Zubac. It's incredibly cheap, I think. Adam, how are you doing? How are you feeling about this? I mean, longest tenured Clipper gets locked up.
And he's still only 27. You know, it's weird.
It's
I was
crazy.
having a shitty day, and somehow Zoo getting 60 million made me feel better too.
Oh no! Why were you? All right. Well, let's pivot from the Zubac news. Adam, why
No,
were you having a bad day?
no. I just want to show how much this means, I think, to Clipper Nation. This is a great day. It's not unexpected. We assumed it was coming at some point here.
Yes.
We're assuming Terrence Mann is going to get his extension at some point here too. It's just great news for a guy who has done everything for this team, who has continued to improve, who has been a defensive stalwart, who's one of the best defensive big men in the game. I just put this tweet out here. I forget who had it originally. It was from somebody from a couple of months ago. But you look at defending the pick and roll. He was second there this season, according to the advanced stats. You look at defending the rim. He was number one. The field goal percentage given up was 51.9%. That was better than Chet, Kristaps Porzingis, Brook Lopez, Victor Wembanyama, Isaiah Hartenstein, Rudy Gobert, Jaren Jackson Jr., Walker Kessler was up there. Big Zoo is already an elite rim protector and has been for years. That's nothing new in that area. He's been like this for over 5 years now. So we're hoping the offensive opportunity is coming, and you match that up with the level of defense he's been playing. Oh, my goodness. Hey, congratulations, Big Zoo, who no longer has to make Marvin Bagley money at
that's
the
the other
center
part.
position.
He's finally out. He'll finally out earn Marvin Bagley. That's I think such a funny point to think about it. How valuable Zoo has been for this Clippers team. We've talked about the durability. He's literally the most durable Clipper, maybe other than Terrence Mann, which is also kind of nice. He's gotten better every single year. Remember the first year against the Warriors in the playoffs? He got played off the floor. It was bad. And then every year since then, he's gotten better. We've saw Ty Lue close games with him recently. You're not finding a starting center who's closing games for a team playing really good basketball when the Clippers were doing their thing last season, when things were going well, especially for that cheap. And this gives Zoo a chance to get another big contract. It's a wonderful deal all the way around. I see there's, I don't know. The only downside is that it might just cost the Clippers more money down the road, but that's fine. Who cares? Because they're going to have, if the Clippers are going to be this, if as Will, who will be on soon, says, if this is our year, some are saying this is our year. If this is the Clippers, if the Clippers are going to outperform expectations, and all this stuff, Zoo's going to have to be a top 10 center. So this gives Zoo a chance to earn another big contract while the Clippers are also succeeding. I don't know. I love it. I can't get enough of this deal.
I think he is a top 10 center now, honestly.
He's closer to 10, obviously, but that's still,
Yeah, there are only a handful of guys who are elite centers that are featured offensively, who are putting up big points on that end. Typically in today's league, you're looking for a rim runner and a rim protector. That's it. There are some exceptions. Joel Embiid can do it all. Nikola Jokic can do it all. Sometimes Giannis plays center next to Brook Lopez, though. He's the power forward. There are just a few guys in today's league. Back to the basket basketball isn't always the most efficient. People think, oh, that's easy work. That's light work for these guys. But with zones today, teams load up on them so quickly. Mm-hmm. It turns into a tougher shot than you would imagine. But we saw Big Zoo in one-on-one defense against the Dallas Mavericks, putting in that work. Game 1, he did it. He was the best player for them in Game 1 of that series that they won.
He's done it a couple years.
He was the second best player overall in that series against Dallas. Yeah, Big Zoo, I thought he disappointed in the series against the Phoenix Suns, didn't play up to expectations.
Yeah.
Last season, he definitely did, the 2023 Phoenix Suns series. And
Yeah.
he's only, as you mentioned, getting more and more longer of a leash from the coaching staff and Coach Lou, and understanding that this is somebody that has to be closing games now. And I fully trust he will be.
Not only closing games on defense, which is great. He needs more field goal attempts. He needs to break. He hasn't broken 7.6. This is not. It's not because of lack. It's not because he's timid or anything. But he needs to be at 12 or something like that, or like at least 10. You know what I mean? Like
when my parody rap track comes out for Forgot About Zoo instead of Forgot About that. Dre.
Nobody needs that.
They need it. Nowadays, everybody want to talk, but
help kill this idea right now.
It's true. They forget about Ivica Zubac all the time. They'll say one game,
I'm not arguing
we're going to get him more touches, and a quarter in, it's already forgotten, even though Zoo has probably a 10-5 already. It's unbelievable. But without Paul George, somebody else really has to step up. I fully believe he's the third most important player on this team coming into this season. It's not a question mark, and that's a positive too. Here we go. Big Will.
Big Will in the house. We were just lambasting this Zoo deal. We just hate it. No. Why do you love the Zoo deal so much? We'll start with that. Also, welcome.
I mean, I just don't know where you're getting another starting caliber center whose biggest contract it might end up being 4 for $70. Like I don't know. And it's not just the money thing, although that is a huge part. I mean, it retains a bunch of flexibility. They can stay true in their looking ahead to free agency, not making moves right now, and just the production. I mean, Zoo. I know people get really frustrated sometimes with him in that sometimes the progress is incremental in a way that maybe that maybe feels like he's due for a bigger jump. I think where we're at right now, the only thing holding Zoo back from a bigger jump is whatever this offense decides to do and however they end up using him. I mean, I think he's been able to rise to the challenge when they've needed more from him. Clearly, we've seen them be able to lean on him more offensively, which was always sort of the biggest thing. I mean, started his tenure here with 2 broken fingers, had his own sort of block-handed moments at times, you know, without the broken fingers. But overall, I mean, from what we've seen, you know, like his only limit is touches. Like what else is holding Zubac from being like a double guy, like other than touches? I don't see anything.
I just said 12 field goal attempts next year.
I love it.
It'd be a lot more than I mean, we'll see.
I love it. What was that last year? Say it like 6, 7
and a half.
It's 7.5.
His
it's
most.
Not. Yeah. It's not Zoo. It's you. It's not giving him the opportunities. That's been the only issue for him.
Bring me into this. Yeah.
not you. I'm saying. Overall,
Ty
he gets lost in the offense. It's
Zoo,
the players out there. It's not even just Ty Lue. I don't know what it is, but he's always gotten like almost a rookie-like treatment. Like, oh yeah, we also have Ivica Zubac. Instead of featuring him, instead of looking for him, it's just been this way for a long time. And it has to be out of necessity now. There's no option to not give Ivica Zubac the ball more. This is it. They have the right point guard in James Harden, who right before that calf injury, Zoo was averaging, I think, 13 and 11 for about a month and a half, was playing the best basketball of his career.
Crazy.
Yeah. He's going to thrive this season. I truly believe this is it. I thought so before the contract. He's the third most important guy. You either get him involved or you're not winning much. Because there's always been an easier path to win, in my opinion, and it's playing through Ivica Zubac more. It's getting easier buckets that way. And without Paul George, without Russell Westbrook, 2 high-usage players, I just think the ball is going to find him a lot more now.
It has to. Yeah, you got to distribute those touches.
I mean, what's one of the most frustrating things we've watched through this, like through the now defunct 2-1-3 era, is like, while this team could be remarkable in half-court sets, one of the most efficient half-court offenses a couple of years ago, there was like an outright refusal at times to get an easy bucket. Like it's great that you can, that you can really tear apart a defense in that way. But sometimes you just got to get some easy buckets. And I think as you look at the age of Harden and Kawhi, and the question marks about the injury and the amount of games they'll play for both of them, like when they are available, get easy buckets. When they're out, give other guys bigger roles. Like it just, it checks for me all the boxes of, what we all know is the end, which is this is our year.
I brought that up earlier. I was going to say, if this is going to be our year, Deuce Times is in the comments saying All-Star season. Zoo will have to maybe be in the All-Star conversation.
Not going to happen.
Conversation. But you know what I mean? Like, not like oh, maybe Zoo. Like that level of conversation. If the
Clippers look at the centers ahead of him is just the other.
Oh, well, sure.
It's kind of the unfortunate thing.
But that's what I mean. He'd be a fringe All-Star conversation guy. That's what the Clippers need if they're going to be a top. Some people have some expectations for this team that we're going to talk about as the closer we get to the season. But
it's not. Seeding doesn't matter. All right?
Okay, seeding does matter. But if the Clippers are
not
going to
when it's your year, baby. Not when it's your year.
You don't even have to make the playoffs. Like, it's just your year anyways. Like, you could be the 11th spot, and that's still their year.
Yeah.
I do want to say, to that point about the All-Star, how about the conversation starts moving to this? Zoo is as important defensively for them as somebody like Rudy Gobert is for the Minnesota Timberwolves. People start realizing just how good and what an anchor Ivica Zubac is.
More of an offensive bag, too.
With more offense.
Yeah, can make free throws, can actually make you think about what's happening. I
mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm there are some better offensive centers, of course, but like the biggest limiting factor right now is just touches, I feel like, for Zoo in that regard.
Always. Like I think it's been one of the failures of the 2-on-3 era, not getting Ivica Zubac involved more. Honestly.
He should wear all orange shot sleeves on arms and legs. So he's like a big cone out there.
Yeah.
You can't miss him.
So not a cone on defense. He can move a little bit. He can defend.
So we did get a question this morning in regards to Zoo from Daniel M., which I think was, first of all, what did he know?
Daniel Mind.
I think Will and you and I have met this guy before, I think, in Echo Park.
Hell yeah.
He said, you guys talk a lot of Zoo growing out his hair. What type of haircut would you guys prefer to give him? A mullet, a bowl cut, long braided hair, or rat tail? Bowl cut would be absolutely hilarious.
I do like that idea a lot. That's but in my mind, it's kind of like Bjorn Borg. It's like it's just this long hair, flowing hair
with a headband.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's got to have a headband. You got to keep that out of his eyes.
Sure.
That
Adam, what were you
headband crown? I mean, put the crown on top.
What's the NBA rule on crowns?
Yeah, I'm fine with some kingly long hair on Ivica Zubac.
So we've gotten a couple questions too, and a couple things shown. I feel like Terrence Mann or Powell deal incoming. I don't know if anyone's getting traded. I don't think Terrence Mann and Norm Powell are getting traded.
I definitely don't think Terrence Mann is at this point, guys. What are you getting that's better than the $10 million he's getting paid for that level of production? Who is doing extension, yes, but that's one of those guys you've invested so much in, just like Ivica Zubac. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I would be very surprised if we see him move prior to the season.
It's going to be a deadline thing.
Yeah, I think if anything, it's a deadline thing. Maybe if contract negotiation talks aren't going well with Terrence, like maybe
it has been cagey.
Maybe
when
that's
been brought up. It's been a little I shouldn't say cagey. When it's been brought up, it's just like, yeah, we're working on it, and you're like,
I gotta be honest. If I was in his position, even if I felt pretty strongly I was going to come back to the Clippers, wouldn't you at least want to test the waters? Like you know, you've never even tested the waters of free agency. So I could kind of see that. But Powell, I don't know. We have to see how the team looks. Powell is just not expendable in the way people once thought that he was, and I don't really know. He's like such a specific piece.
We need the shooting.
Well, and he's just such a specific piece. Like, what are you really getting that's a step up for the Clippers? I'm having trouble seeing anything other than maybe like a lateral move. And if it's Terrence and Norm, sure, still not. I mean, that's a decent amount of money to work with. That's possible. I don't see it. There's no way it happens before the season.
Yeah, we got an Adam apology in the chat from JM1324. Zoo, which is short for Zubac, chat. We're just using slang. Zoo is short for Zubac. He's making all defense this year. And to Adam, they apologize. I thought Zoo wanted more money, but I respect his contract decision. This sets him up for a big-ass contract after this contract because he will be 30. He has another big contract coming.
Well,
if he's a top 10 center for 3 years while the Clippers are in this period.
Maybe he gets 4 for 100, but with the raised cap.
It's an extension on top of.
So that's the new 4 for 70.
They have him locked up for 4 years now because it's an extension on top of the 1 year deal. So it's 4 years.
So he'll be 31, which is, I mean.
If I was going to buy any jersey, it'd probably be Big Zoo.
Would it be a red one?
Oh, yeah. I will wait patiently for the red ones to show up at the flagship store, and I will be there.
You'll wait at the flagship store.
Open.
But yeah, like, I mean, 31, if he keeps improving, I think 4 for 100 is what he gets when he's 31. Maybe more.
So that'll be
what happen with
he'll have
equity.
At the end, he'll have he'll have a decade of Clipper service, right? Am I counting that correctly?
Of league service, I think, not of Clippers service. Because he had 2 seasons with the Lakers. He was drafted when he was like 19.
Yeah.
His first season with the Lakers was 2016, 2017.
Who's worried about the next contract? You just got the extension on this one, you know?
I'm excited for the next contract. Because if he gets a big contract next, it's gonna be from.
He'll be looking at max money.
Yeah, and it's gonna be because he played so well. This is fantastic. I'm excited. Extra Ernie is saying Zoo's going to be an all-star. We don't know about that. I was just laughed at by my co-host for saying he would be in the conversation.
I love the enthusiasm.
But I agree.
I love where your head's at. Honestly,
he's not going to be an all-star.
I didn't laugh.
If they let a few of you on the voting board, maybe. They have some common sense in there, maybe.
Something we almost had a conniption about.
You go Tea Party on the All-Star voters, just lose it.
Something we found alarming after the season ended. I think this was in the first month of the offseason. We were like, how many minutes did Ivica Zubac ended up playing last year? And it was revealed that he ended up playing 2 less minutes per game than the year before.
Yeah.
And that was
I think you do have to bear in mind the calf injury, though.
I mean,
fair
minutes per game.
But that's still crazy.
Did he slowly back in to ramp up minutes after he came back?
He didn't play full minutes, I don't think, when he first started. I think he had like a couple of 18ers.
Let me do one of my favorite things in the world and pull up the game logs.
Yeah, I mean, was he at 35 before that or something? I missed it.
When he came back, he went 18, missed a game.
Teeners.
Missed a game, 21, 19, 22, 27, 29, 26, 33. He was kind of back in full force.
A couple teeners in there.
He played a 14er.
Okay. Let's put it this way. The most minutes he averaged in a month was 28.1. That should be the fewest amount this next season, right? He should be above 30 because often politics can be involved. Money plays. This is a good thing for emboldening the coaching staff to play him more. He's one of your higher paid players now. He's got to be out there. I can't have Ivica Zubac playing under 30 minutes per game anymore. If he is, it's because he's in foul trouble. That's the only way it should happen. Because we talk about the backup center position and how that's going to be interesting to watch.
Oh, there was a little bit of news about that regarding that. Sorry, go ahead.
I got nothing for Mark Stein. He has been wrong when it comes to the Clippers. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think they're absolutely looking to upgrade, but we sort of know that they're eyeing a little bit further. We just sort of know that they're eyeing a little bit further down the path. So, like, I think, yes, they're looking to upgrade. I just don't know if that means
it's not a big swing.
Parents.
It's not. Yeah. So I want to touch on the backup center thing real quick. We are going to take a quick audio break because we're going to put this out for the audio listeners. Thank you to everyone who is hanging out in the chat. We appreciate it. If you're listening to this, you could have watched this over at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. If you're listening, we do appreciate it. Ads coming up, and then we'll be back in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome back in Clips and Dip. It's a Friday happy hour. If you're not here, you could be here. That's over at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. Yeah, we talked about the zoo extension. I didn't open the rundown yet. What are we talking about next?
So this is actually kind of an audible. But Law Murray was kind of tweeting about Kai Jones because we're talking about how great the starting center situation is. And we know the backup situation is, some would say, terrifying.
I still think it's better than last season, honestly.
Fair.
I forgot. Where did you guys land at? Sorry to sidetrail this for a second, but where did you guys land at scarier position, backup center, like power forward depth?
Backup center.
I still think it's backup center for me, but
Nick Batum is better than either Kai Jones or so. It's like, okay, so Nick Batum's the backup.
Yeah.
But
I would like to know, when we talk about how scary the backup center position is, tell me all the teams who have great backup centers.
No, that's fair.
I think it's pretty.
It's just thin margins, I guess, would be my. You know what I mean? Like, last year was bad.
We're getting a lot of Kai Jones love. Charles, I think you were about to say something about Kai Jones.
Sorry.
Let's get into it.
There was.
We're so rudely interrupted.
There was one of this podcast's favorite things is the Rico Hines runs. We love them. Jordan is in the chat saying, you don't know how good Kai Jones was. He's still alive. We hope he's good for the Clippers next season.
Rip.
He was at a Rico Hines runs recently, yesterday, I believe. Law Murray was there reporting. He said Kai Jones is finally healthy, and he understands he needs to be loud defensively as a center. And then he's looking forward to October. Someone said, no chance they try and play him as a 4. Law said, got to build a foundation. The focus is on him being a 5 until further notice, which makes total sense. There's always a chance for positional expansion, but that's not my expectation for now. Kai still has to make the team. Positive things to hear for people who were Kai Jones fans or maybe worried about the backup 5 is that he understands he has to be good defensively. That is, I hope it's true, because that is how you get minutes on this team.
The code has been cracked.
The code's been cracked. Be good at defense. And he's healthy. These are pros.
I'm a fan. I'm rooting for the guy, and I'm rooting for Mo Bamba, who I do think has more upside still. And his buddies with Kawhi. That was cool to hear from Kelly Johnson.
Yeah, he's played more real NBA minutes than Kai Jones by quite a bit.
I had not heard this till I talked with Joseph. Tell me if this was news to you guys. I had no idea about this. Joseph said they had been targeting Mo Bamba for years, and I had never heard of that before.
I heard some rumblings about a possible Bamba look.
Well, I believe it now because the reason would be Kawhi Leonard liked him, and they have been talking for a while, so it makes sense.
Yeah. And
I wouldn't always believe Joseph, but in this case, it lines up.
Well, I heard some rumblings, but I wasn't sure if that was just a fan thing. I certainly didn't hear anything confirmed.
But yeah, good to hear that I like seeing that Kai is healthy and at high level off-season basketball competitions, because there's pro-ams, which if you've been to a pro-am, that level of competition can range from pretty good to dunk contest. But the Rico Hines level of you're not fucking around at the Rico Hines runs. It's full of NBA guys, Rico is there.
James Harden has been a staple there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time guys put in big time work.
Do you think Obama could be a star in his role? Limited minutes. So if Zoo's getting 30 minutes and we do see some small ball.
33.
Okay. Zoo.
36.
All right. Coach Adam is saying if Zoo's getting 33.
63.
And, wow, man, long season for the Clippers if he's averaging 63 minutes a game. Wow. Tired legs in March.
I need that Wilt.
Those 17 games in March again. Zoo's playing 30. We get a little bit of small ball 5. How many minutes is the backup center playing? You know what I mean? Is it
13 to 15?
Yeah. So Mo Bamba in 13 to 15 minutes. What is? I don't know what his
one of the things that
looks like for that. Really good defense and 8 points and 4 rebounds.
Every team's fan base seems to say about Mo Bamba that, he's one of those guys that'll have a really good game. You'll up your expectations for him, and then he'll disappoint. He'll show you what he could be, but then he'll disappoint. He's still young enough where he can put it together. He's just turning 26, I think.
But that's the thing, right? Like, that's part of the reason why he's at the level that he's at, is like consistency is such a difficult thing to do in this league, night in and night out. And granted, it's been even more difficult for him because he's been on different teams. He's been moved around. His role has been changed. But yeah, that's either something that you can kind of adapt with or you cannot. So star in his role, I think it just really depends on what that role is.
8 and 4 with good defense, and he's a star in the role.
8 and 4 would be insane.
Wait, sorry, that's crazy. Let's call it 4 and 4. And good defense, 15 minutes. Okay, we have to address this question from Jordan. Who we don't know, but their display name's Jordan.
Oh,
Pelicans needed a center. What would you guys think of patching Zubac, Norm, and Bones for Ingram? Well, then our starting center is Mo Bamba. And we just signed Zubac to an extension.
Glad we made all those points of how important Ivica Zubac is just to trade him to New Orleans.
I like BI a lot. I would love
center.
I would love to be watching him on this team. We don't have the depth to make a big swing like that right now.
New Orleans wouldn't even do that. They want a center that has range to pair next to Zion.
Well, they haven't let Zoo shoot. What if Zoo shoots 40% from 3 this year on 6 attempts a game?
I wouldn't be shocked.
Van Gundy's just made Ty Lue lose his mind to the point that he's like, maybe give Zoo some threes.
Hey, for all we've said about Mo Bamba and how he's disappointed,
so funny.
There is a real skill set there with being able to shoot from 3. He's taken over 700 threes in his career at above a 36% clip. That's real. That's not nothing.
What is your...
Don't do this.
What?
The John Wall prediction for
what is your diet John Wall prediction? For those first of all, I think before we started doing lives on YouTube, we did the pod and Adam proclaimed that he thought, and I want to get this right, that John Wall would shoot 40% on corner threes.
I don't remember exactly. It
was something like that.
It wasn't even corner threes. I said above 38% on the season.
Yeah, on threes. So that is, we reference that a lot because John Wall did not.
You do.
That, and
some
he's no
do.
Longer,
some love referencing that.
And he's no longer in
Says the king of receipts. Don't pull my receipts, please.
Yes, the king of receipts that has not pulled many on you guys, but
I have no receipts. No receipts when you pay cash. You feel me? What is your diet John Wall prediction for Mo Bamba's shooting?
Give me 36.5% above that.
36.5% above. I mean,
above that.
That doesn't seem crazy.
No, he has shot 39%, almost 40%.
How many attempts are we talking?
12
on the season this year.
No, let's call it per game.
Per game?
Yeah,
it's probably 2.
2.
Yeah. He averaged 1 year. He averaged 4.
That's enough though.
The 1 year he averaged 4 3-point attempts per game. He shot 38%.
That's
real.
That is a diet John Wall take. I respect that. I respect that take.
Well,
I love that we keep talking about the threes, but that's just not really what we're looking for in a backup center for this team.
Right. So that's kind of the issue too, right? That was the issue with Tice. Is that Tice was like, you can stretch the floor, this is cool, but you're also like, at least Bamba has size. Bamba is
as you point out, Tice really couldn't stretch the floor.
Right. It was fake.
If Tice was 4 inches taller, though, like his defensive effort was a lot better than Mason Plumlee's, and it would have been less of an issue.
Yeah, someone in the chat said, JJ the boy said all the backup has to do is legit play better defense.
Yeah, you nailed it, JJ.
Pretty low bar, and you nailed it.
Like
they're in a better situation. They are.
Yeah. And do we think so? Now that we're kind of kicking this idea around, I woke up in a cold sweat the other day because I thought maybe PJ Tucker is still on the team because Ty Lue is going to try and use him in small ball 5 situations.
No, nobody wants him.
That's why I woke up in a cold sweat.
It's not a tactical decision.
I was terrified.
Dream, nightmare, or premonition?
That's why I went. I did that wake up.
You did the Dwayne Wade wake up? In that
if you're trying to sell a box of dog shit under the bridge and no one buys it, it's not because you're saving it for later. It's because nobody wants it.
That's
maybe
fair.
The greatest analogy of all time.
That's fair. Okay, so the small ball 5 is still going to be Nico at the 5. Basically, starting lineup Nico at the 5.
I think we're moving away from that as just a concept.
That's a lot of wear and tear on an older player to make him play the 5 that much.
Yeah,
fair. So then we're going to see more of the backup center.
Maybe we'll try Kobe Brown at backup 5.
Just Zoo.
I don't
closing.
know if that's happening.
Zoo opening, Zoo closing.
That would
maybe it's Kai Jones as the backup 5.
What about Kai Jones?
What about Kai Jones?
What is he listed as? 6'10"?
Let me look it up.
I mean, is that?
He's 6'11". I would say he's taller than 6'10". Yeah.
But I don't want to say projects, but he has shown in very, very small spurts some ability to move his feet on the perimeter. And if you're going for a smaller ball, more maneuverable 5, maybe Kai Jones ends up being it.
You kind of got to pass out of the 5 spot there, right? And I don't know if Kai Jones can move the ball the way that it needs to be moved.
Oh, not like PJ.
Not like PJ. Not with the deft touch of a veteran.
What if there's just no small ball? How about that? What if there is just no small ball?
So that would be fine. But then
is that on the table?
I don't think that's on the table. Well, it might be. But that's just a lot of the backups. So Oregon, Zoo's getting 35. If there's no small ball, Zoo's getting 35 or might have to.
Or what if it's, you know what it is? It's likely Kawhi playing the 5 if they're playing small ball.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He did some of it last year. I mean, his rim protection and last line of defense is really damn good. Like he's pretty amazing at playing some of that free safety. I don't love the idea of him having to do it, but I think it will happen here and there.
Well, that's the funny thing, too, that makes me think about Zoo and the bench, right? Like, is Zoo's going to have to probably bridge some minutes with the bench unit. You know what I mean? Like, because if Kawhi's playing small ball 5, he's not going to be out there when Zoo's out there and stuff like that. So I wonder, that's going to call on Norm maybe of trying to show, or like we hope the chemistry with Chris Dunn is good with Zoo, and like they build that up in training camp, right? Like, because he's going to have to play with the backups. I
think often. He and Harden are going to have to play with the backups a lot. I think Harden might come out earlier in the first quarter, as he did last season, to then start second quarters and to run the second unit a lot. Because I think the big question here to me is Kevin Porter Jr. going to be available? Right. That's how I think Norman Powell could end up being traded. If they see that Kevin Porter Jr. can fill in some of the 6-man stuff, because there's a real concern.
And there's also there might be another thing, right? Isn't there going to be another investigation or something happening with Kevin Porter? Or am I wrong with that?
No, yeah, the NBA is investigating it.
Right, okay,
so is he going to be available? Yeah. So, because Norm, Kevin Porter Jr., and Chris Dunn, if they're all 3 coming off the bench, let's say they're all available, that's problematic. Playing Norm and KPJ isn't great. And that's the one area I would give in to somebody making the argument that, okay, Norm should be starting because you don't want him coming off the bench with another guy that doesn't play great defense either. How do you make that work? I still want Terrence Mann starting. Don't get me wrong. But I think that is the point you would make.
Yeah, and you don't think Chris Dunn can make up enough?
Not for 3 guards.
So you're saying
I don't want to
you're
see
saying
3-guard
KP
lineups.
You're saying
Yeah.
KPJ should take Terrence's starting spot.
This is not what I'm saying at all.
People are saying KPJ is the biggest X factor. I don't think that's true at all. I don't think you give the biggest X factor on the team as small of a contract as they gave him, and I just think that makes sense.
I mean, it is a big, it's a big prove-it deal. I can see I can see the reasoning behind that. I guess I still have questions as to what his role is going to be. Like as Adam said, I mean that is the one scenario where Norm does become expendable. I would have to see it on the court before I'm even close to thinking about that conversation.
We can't be like, oh, he's going to be a pivotal player. He hasn't been in the league.
I think the move that everybody is talking about could be hinging on the fact of whether or not he's even going to be available.
Are you talking the John Collins one? The people keep spamming in the chat? And for the last 5 years of my life covering the Clippers,
every year
they're going to trade for John
Maybe
Collins. Maybe he's not good. Have we considered that he's not as good as we want him to be? Sorry.
Is that who Mark Stein is saying they're going to get?
But this question has been, and sorry, John.
Fix me, John Collins.
John,
fix me.
John Rodriguez. This is not aimed at you. But this has been a question for a borderline decade. Not borderline, not even close. But every season, should the Clippers get? Maybe he just doesn't fit.
I mean, I can see the fit, but like, I don't know.
The Jazz aren't having a sell-off, by the way, anymore.
Right.
Marketing is good for this year. He can't be traded. So they're going to try to win a little bit here.
Yeah, I just don't. And then he's the backup because he's not starting over Zoo.
No, yeah, he'd definitely be the backup.
Yeah.
And that's why, that's, I guess, my question, too, is like, so how much are you really willing to give up asset-wise?
I think he'd be the starting power forward if they got John Collins.
And then you move
to slot, yeah.
And it would be Derek Jones Jr. or Terrence Mann coming off the bench.
Yeah, that's fair.
It'd probably be Derek Jones.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He
just got paid.
Sorry, I'm looking at John Collins' stats.
I'm also intrigued. Where is he at athletically compared to the guy that could put his head almost above the rim?
Right.
I know he's still relatively young. What is he, 27? But I think he's had some injuries that have
good shooter.
taken
I mean,
toll.
on 3 attempts. I mean, he's kind of a streaky. No, he's a good shooter-ish. He's league average shooter.
Oh, what? Threes?
Yeah. We kind of do need a power forward, center JR. I'm not arguing against that, but we'll see. That is the point of this year is to see maybe what we have. Hopefully, Kobe Brown is good in training camp and stuff like that, because that is how.
Again, we can't play young guys and get them opportunities while we're also still bringing in vets to fill voids.
John Collins.
You can't have both. How are we ever going to find out about 2 guys that are about to turn 25 in Kobe Brown and Jordan Miller?
Well, and the thing with Kobe Brown, Nate G brings up if Kobe just had a knockdown 3-pointer, blah, blah, blah. That was respectful, blah, blah, blah. But there's the other side of the ball. He's slow on the perimeter.
Yeah, I think we've seen enough.
He's slow on the perimeter is an issue with Kobe. He can destroy smaller guys on offense, but he can't keep up with them. You think you're done with Kobe?
I like it. I like him. I'd like for him to work out, but
it's our year, but not Kobe's.
Will's like, he'll get a ring. Kobe will get a ring, but
not with this organization.
I still think there's a lot that he could prove. I want to see him get another opportunity, but I understand what you're saying too, that he's about to turn 25. He has to show something real soon here. And the summer league was up and down.
I don't know. The thing to me with Kobe is I feel like he's still incredibly raw, but not like extremely gifted athletically. So like I don't.
Right.
I like the guy. I would love for him to thrive. Of course. I'm just not seeing it.
The reason people were trying to compare him to Draymond is partially because, like Draymond, he's not a great athlete. So is
I know, but
he
Draymond had instincts.
right? Does he have amazing defensive
Draymond's one of
instincts?
the best defenders of all time. So
I wasn't the one making the comparison, but people were doing that. And it's like the only way he could beat Draymond is if he has some semblance of a 3-point shot, where Draymond actually used to be good at,
Yeah.
and he's crazy versatile defensively.
yeah. So we'll see. And you know what? And if there's one thing that this team
When you turn
loves to do,
26 is generally when that starts to snap in. At least for me.
yeah, if that's your experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I started seeing like defensively. I started seeing stuff on a different level.
Seeing shit
And,
way
and like the
crazier.
3 was wet.
Yeah, sure. All right, we got to take another quick break, and then I want to talk maybe an insane idea that I was thinking about, and people getting overcharged at Intuit Dome, which they admitted. So we're doing an audio break. If you listen on audio, you missed the live, which is no big deal. It's up on YouTube. If you want to watch the whole thing, you can see Adam and I's new hats, which is cool. Chat. You can see the chat. People are excited about Larry Nance maybe sometime before the deadline. But thank you for hanging out in the chat. We'll be back to talk a maybe foolish idea I had and being overcharged into it after this in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back in. It's a Clips and Dip live. I'm Adam Oslin. We got Chuck Mockler and Will Updike, and you guys joining us here on the YouTube side. Very fun. It's a red letter type of day, as my friend Petros Papadakis would say, because not only are we on, but there was some breaking news just a few minutes beforehand with Ivica Zubac signing a 3-year extension of about $60 million. So he's making just under $20 million a year, after still making, I think, the Marvin Bagley $13 million or whatever it is this year. But then he gets that big bump, and he has earned it and then some. And we all believe that he's going to outperform the contract and show anyone who's getting on me, like some people on Twitter saying, what, 10-9 is your third best player on the team? Because I've been saying Ivica Zubac, I think, is their third best player, most important player.
Score watchers.
It's like, well, look at his per 36. Give him more minutes. And all of a sudden, he's 60-10 in a playoff series against the Dallas Mavericks. So I think we all know his potential is much higher than 10-9.
Absolutely. And again, if you're arguing points and rebounds for something like that, congratulations on being able to read something that's, easier to read than a letter. I don't, okay. I had a crazy idea. There was the Ty Lue article. I was getting hyped thinking about him and Van Gundy just becoming lunatics on the defensive end of the court and scheming up some good stuff and good things happening for the Clippers. What would it take for Ty Lue to win Coach of the Year? If the Clippers are a top 4 seed with a top 10 defense and a couple,
unfortunately, it's not based on playoffs. Because if it was based on playoffs, obviously he's a shoo-in.
Because
yeah,
sure. But it is a regular season award. Top 10 defense, above average offense, a couple of signature regular season wins. I think he's in the conversation.
Yeah, he just has to. They have to massively outperform expectations, and they're really damn low right now for some people.
I mean, that's true. Like that is true. He is kind of in a better position.
They're real low. Like, people think this team is going to be.
What's the Vegas over-under on wins? 43, 45?
I think it's 40
or 41.
I think it's like, oh yeah,
it's
like
sub 43.
Does anyone know any betting websites I could check? I don't do.
Pretty sure it is
any of that stuff.
Just check your bookmarks.
No.
If you have a link or a code, go ahead, drop that.
If you have a link or a code, chat. But what would it take? I think a top 4 seed with a top 10 defense clinches it.
That's going to be sub 500.
I'm looking right now.
The streak is going to end.
I have to use someone's code. I've never done this before.
It's not going to. According to Vegas, it could, but
I said they might be sub
500.
But I think I was sad, and it was before the DJJ signing.
So, like, right as free agency opened up, you're like under.
Well, I think I said they'd win 41 games, so I think it was like, it broke the streak, or 40 games.
It's impossible when we don't know what Kawhi's plan. When we don't know how healthy is James Harden going to be. It's like
Kawhi's going to play 72 games. Harden's going to play 80.
Give us how many games Kawhi's playing, and we'll spit out the number of wins the Clippers have.
You can bet your house on it.
I thought I saw 41.5 or something the other day.
Where did you see that?
Somebody was, I think, quoting Bovada.
40.5, 40. Everyone's got 40.5.
Yeah, that's where they're putting them
I'd
at.
probably take the over on that.
I am. This is not advice. This is me talking about home repair. I am hammering that.
Stop the hammering.
I'm renting a jackhammer and just a 40.5. Yeah.
It is.
I think those
lock
stats,
of the week.
Like, I feel like people aren't factoring in how little Paul George played when he was here into some of those projections.
They won. Was it 51 or 52 games last season?
God damn, man.
It was one or the other. Are they going to be 10 wins less without Paul George?
No, they won 50.
I don't think so, but
yeah, I think they're taking into account what Vegas.
But there will be less Kawhi games than last season too. So.
Kawhi played 68
for sure. There will for sure be
if he just doesn't play the 16 back-to-backs, one of those games, he's already at 66. So yeah, I think that's a safe bet. But I think what they're looking at is the West is so deep that records are going to be lowered overall because of that.
Does anyone know the odds of them repeating as Pacific Division champs? I couldn't find that anywhere.
The Pac-Div odds?
Yeah, who has the Pac-Div odds?
I asked the California Cup odds.
I asked the bookie for those, and he told me to get away from him.
Chat, Pac-Div is Pacific Division.
He said, dude, you need help. Yeah, chat, Pac-Div is Pacific Division. Okay, so we all agree if you can find odds on Ty Lue Coach of the Year, maybe take that. I think a lot of
Van Gundy.
Assistant Coach of the Year, absolutely. They have a top 10 defense. All right, and then the other thing, people were getting overcharged at Intuit, which happened for tickets.
Tickets. I thought it was going to be for merch because they did acknowledge that there is a bit of a flaw with the merch thing. And
there's been some.
If you like pick stuff up and don't put it back at one of the designated putbacks or where it came from, you might just get charged for it.
Yeah, there's been a couple double charges, but they sent an email.
How about
to
commit?
People.
You pick it up. Commit.
Dude, if Adam worked in the flagship store, that place.
Picked it up.
That place would clear. I don't know, whatever 45% of their daily target is. That place is clearing it. He's going.
You're looking at that for a little long.
You have to buy it.
You're gonna have to buy it
because of retina scanning. Once your retina's been focused on the logo long enough, you've purchased that hat. Possession is 9/10 of the law, so you will go to jail if you do not buy that hat.
How long you been staring at that? What, you're Superman? You're going to stare right through it? My God, you ain't got X-ray vision. Just buy it.
The game starts soon. Okay. They sent an email saying, thank you for your recent purchase of Clippers tickets for the 24-25 season. We wanted to inform you that there was an internal coding error during your transaction, which resulted in an overcharge. We have taken the proper steps to correct the issue. You should receive a refund for the overcharge for the original point of purchase to the payment method used within the next 5 to 7 business days. We apologize for any inconvenience and look forward to seeing you this season at Intuit Dome. Huh. Good thing they got it fixed.
Yeah, I don't know.
It happens. It's not that.
Kinks. Just kinks working out. And for the record, no one was like complaining about this. They were just like, oh, I guess I got overcharged.
Happens. I don't know.
It's almost 2 months till opening night still.
I'm freaking out.
It's episode 1 for Chuck. He's got the 10 outside.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I'm just feeling too good about the zoo extension. That's a fantastic deal. Shout out Lawrence Frank. All the people who dislike Lawrence Frank. If you dislike Lawrence Frank, you actually probably also dislike Zoo. So maybe this is a horrific day for you, which I hope it is.
Haters in shambles.
I didn't say that.
I hope they are.
What do we think the man extension? When is? I know we kicked it around a little bit, but I would like that to happen soon.
Going back to that question about trading Terrence Mann, guys, he's all over the Halo board. He's the player profile guy featured. He's the biggest ambassador.
He's the only one they make do public appearances.
He's
because the Clippers have never traded someone who is the face of the franchise abruptly. Famously.
That's fair. But Terrence Mann isn't making a ton of money and on a contract that could be aging very poorly. I have a lot of faith it's going to get done here in the next couple of months.
What are you looking at? What do you think figure-wise? What would you be comfortable with?
I don't know, somewhere between 16, 18.
Really?
29. Yeah.
I was going to say, I feel like it's got to be in the 20 a year.
I mean, he's making less than Zoo was now. Zoo was, I think, at 13. Terrence is at 10. If he gets the same type of bump, it will put him around 16.
That's true, but cap goes up once Saudi Arabia starts investing in all these teams like they're doing with the Wizards, you know. No, I think 17 to 20. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I could just see him maybe wanting more, but I don't know what the cap looks like.
Whatever he gets is deserved because Terrence Mann has
yeah.
played every damn position for this team, has played every role for this team. He's never complained once. I love Terrence Mann.
Would you like to counterpoint this person who put this in the chat saying that he hit his ceiling 2 years ago and we need to move on?
One word. Casual. We need to move on. Hey, Les, what's the idea? Who you trading Terrence Mann for? Let me know.
John Collins.
So they'd have to include somebody else because John Collins makes like $20 million.
Yeah. No, there's just the other thing too is like the Clippers are kind of not hamstrung, but their books are a little stuck. I don't mean that in a bad way, right? Like they've been as flexible as they possibly could have this offseason with the Zoo extension, with the DJJ signing. Like it's all been shrewd moves.
Yeah.
They are under the first apron. I
out
love
of the repeater tax. They got a lot of good stuff going on.
But these are the guys you do invest in. They're still young, just entering their prime, and I think they're going to be on a relatively team-friendly deal. We already think Ivica Zubac is comparative to his production. I think Terrence Mann is going to be slotted right there, and they're both due to have their best years. They're still yet to come.
Well, and Terrence is set up right, so he can do his extension. He doesn't have to do it right now. We could do it at the end of the year, right? Isn't that how it's?
I think it was the same as Zoo. Yeah, they could do it later.
So maybe this is a situation where they're like, hey, man, you're getting more run this year.
He could prove it.
Do you want to prove it, or do you want this deal that we have here right now, or do you want to see how the season plays out? And knowing Terrence, it seems like he would want to see how the season plays out because he should. Someone has to get more of a chance, right? It can't just be Kawhi and James. So Terrence, this is kind of maybe they give him the season to show what he can do, and he gets a bigger leash than we think.
I'm guessing. I have no idea. What I would guess if that's the case.
This is your educated guess.
There's an offer out there. He thinks he could get more by having a bet on yourself like year where he can prove himself. That's the only way I could see this getting dragged out.
Yeah.
Because I think Terrence wants to be here. Like a bird in the hands, injuries, all those other things. You want to get more money locked up if you can. Just depends on if they can come to an agreement on how much that is and what's fair value.
Yeah. It's exciting though. I feel like it's more of it feels like I have more of an exciting vibe than an ominous vibe after this Zoo extension. We have that locked up. Oh, do we got a Louis appearance on the pod? If you're listening to the pod, you're missing out on a rare appearance from Will's dog.
Oh, that is a cute pup. That's an Ewok. That's an Ewok if I've seen one. George Lucas wants that dog.
Will, how much would George Lucas have to pay you to take Louis?
I don't know, $100,000.
Say we settle on redacting some.
Whatever's in his
Well, it's
pocket.
George Lucas, so he has like unlimited money. So
right.
I guess I'd want a few mil. But
$12 million.
If he lowballed me with $100,000, I'd be like,
$100,000. You can have the car that he drove to come pick Louis up in. He'll get a ride back. I like what Jordan's saying here. Terrence Mann still has Herb Jones potential. I love Herb Jones. I don't know if he can be as good a defender as Herb Jones, but maybe shooting wise.
Herb Jones is just athletically such a long player.
Yeah.
And Terrence Mann is older than Herb Jones, so I don't know.
Okay, this would be a low ball from JJ the boy. He said he would trade Will's dog for PJ Tucker. Wait, is this a low ball or a high ball? Okay, so JJ the boy in this scenario is the GM of another team. and he has.
Wait, so I have to give up
don't know.
Louis and I get PJ Tucker?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Sounds like a shit deal for me.
What? So I did. Was it?
Gotta have all his damn shoes in the crib.
I think it was LA Clippers Film who tweeted something that was funny. That was like PJ Tucker and Bones still on the team in late August. I think that's what made me have the nightmare of PJ Tucker still being on the team. There's just nothing out there for these guys. But aren't they just going to be DNP'd? Is Bones getting DNP'd?
I wonder if they're invited to training camp if they're still on the team. Like, why?
But what do you do? Like, they're like, they have, and you know what I mean? Like, not just as that. I could be naive here. Not inviting someone to training camp who's just like fully under contract. And y'all are going to Hawaii.
No,
two guys. One I could see. Two.
If their attitudes and headspace was not right, you can't start training camp with two guys that are already upset before the season starts. Is what I'm saying. Maybe they are in a better place. Hope springs eternal. Maybe Bones Highland has a change of heart. I don't know about PJ Tucker, but Bones Highland is still a young player that needs to take advantage of this time. I don't care how much time you get. Do whatever you can, because other teams are watching him for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think barring like if they're not invited to camp, like things are cool. That's like,
we also thought they wouldn't be on the team at this point, so it's like,
very true.
I agree, and I don't see a role for either player, but I mean, if you're hoping to end up anywhere, I feel like you gotta play ball.
Maybe they're content. Like, if KPJ gets suspended, they could need Bones Highland still.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of do still need Bones Highland.
I would love that. I don't know how he plays, though, with all the guards. And it just seems like they've moved on, just not in the fact that he's actually moved to a different city yet.
Because the Clippers traded 2 seconds for Bones, so he's not worth that now.
1 second.
I mean, I get like that. Maybe that's the deal, because you're not
1 second and PJ Tucker.
Because you're not packaging them together, right? Like, what does Bones and PJ Tucker get you?
I mean, you'd have to be really interested in the young asset and
need an expiring contract.
Yeah, but I mean, that would be the Clippers are taking on more long-term money.
Yeah,
that's like bad. What did they make together? Like 14 million or something like that. If you add their 2 contracts,
something around that.
You probably end up getting somebody that's on a 2-year deal, and that looks like a bad contract. Is what you probably get.
I think you're lucky if you're only getting an extra year.
Yeah, JM Digits is saying they might waive and stretch PJ. I mean, maybe they would rather.
I just don't think so. I don't think there's any point in keeping $3 million on the books or $4 million on the books for 3 years or whatever. I think, honestly, it's our year anyways. Just eat the cost.
Like, who cares?
Eat the cost. It's free money next year.
We can afford it, Ballmer. It's our year, dude. All that championship merch. Rev that's coming in to Intuit Dome. I don't know. Anything else you guys want to talk about Clippers wise? Feeling good after the zoo extension. I tweeted that his gigantic family
went from being a quiet week to a pretty good week in the old Clippers sphere.
We had a Rico Hines run with all the young guys again. We got the zoo contract.
Yeah.
It's a good week for Clippers fans. What a Friday.
A little more eventful than what we've had since Summer League.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for hanging out on the YouTube stream, for those of you who hung out. Will, for the people who are listening to this, or the people watching, if they wanted to be extra special, fantastic fans, where could they review or let people know their thoughts publicly about this podcast?
I mean, if you want to let us know your thoughts publicly about this podcast, just hop over to youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. You can comment on any video. You could hop in here on the live, comment us right to our faces. You can also listen to this podcast wherever you do that. If you wanted to leave a rating or review, you could do that over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We'd like that. But anyway, you consume the show. We appreciate it.
We really do. And Adam, one positive thing before we let these Clippers fans go enjoy their wonderful long weekend. Happy Labor Day, by the way.
Well, someone just paid us $1.99, so I'll make this the positive. Maybe Bones and Tucker for Dorian Finney-Smith. I'd sign up for that.
Could be the move.
He's solid. Now he's making. There it is. He cranked out the numbers. He's at $15 million, so the math would work there. And then he has a
DFS is an asset, though.
He is. Maybe they see themselves. I mean, if anyone's rebuilding and not trying to win this season as they're going for Cooper Flag, it's Brooklyn. So they might welcome a guy like Bones Highland, even though they have some young scorers. It wouldn't be that crazy. And if they don't want to win ball games, they might want to trade Dorian Finney-Smith. He's got a player option the next year for $15 million. He'll probably opt out and get a longer deal, but I like Dorian Finney-Smith. I would welcome that. So the Clippers, they still have moves to make, whether it happens in the offseason or during the year. I like what Chuck said earlier. Let's wait and see how this team looks and then start to maybe maneuver a little bit. And I think they're going to keep us interested in that way. So many people have talked about how they can't wait for this season because they don't know exactly what's going to happen. The expectations are obviously lower, but you still feel like, what if? They could still get out of the play-in somehow. If Kawhi Leonard looks good, this team could still be very dangerous. As you say, Chuck, they're that tough team you don't have to play every night.
Well, I think Will thinks he knows what's going to happen.
There's only one outcome.
Doctor Strange.
It's our year.
Will has seen 70,000 outcomes, and they're all the same. And every single one is
Tanya, this is the most I've felt it in the 2-on-3 era. The most I've felt it.
Just crazy, just wild shit.
I don't need to do the positive thing at the end of the show. We should just start to Will and be like, hey, Will, what's positive about this team this year?
What year is it, dog?
This year is going to be different, guys. A lot different.
I've never said that as a Clippers fan. I'm excited to say that for the first time. Thank you to everyone for hanging out. We're going to be live during the regular season, at least once a week probably, but we're going to have episodes 3 times a week for sure. Just get ready because we have a bunch of good content coming and try and get to Intuit for the preseason. Seems like a good time. We will be with you next week. Couldn't tell you the day, but it will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. We will talk